Getting Approved for EDOC, Surviving the TEM Process, one of a continuing series of educational webinars from WindowBook. My name is Monica Lundquist, and I am Postal Affairs and Technical Support Manager here at WindowBook. Assisting me today is our Mailing Industry Software Specialist, Steve Dowdy. The specific agenda items that we'll be covering during today's webinar are what is TEM testing and why is it important for using EDOC. We'll talk a little bit about the various TEM scenarios and how to get started doing TEM testing. We'll also go through the tools that you need to begin TEM testing, and we'll provide a live demonstration showing how electronic documents are submitted using Postal One in the TEM environment. TEM stands for Test Environment for Mailers. It is a section of Postal One that is designed to allow mailers to submit electronic mailing files, also known as EDOC, in a test mode. This section of Postal One replicates the production environment, so mailers testing in this mode are assured that their tests will mimic live production. This testing allows mailers to practice using Postal One for electronic documentation, or EDOC, and to try out the different file formats and mailing scenarios before going live with production. It also provides a testing and certification process, which ensures that mailers have tested all the scenarios that are related to their types of mailings to certify that their internal processes will work for the production process. This testing and certification process is required for mailers wishing to participate in intelligent mail, but we encourage all mailers to try the TEM environment, even if they do not plan to use intelligent mail. Electronic documentation is simply more efficient, and mailers can use EDOC even without participating in intelligent mail, and it costs nothing to try it. Within the testing and certification process of TEM, there are a number of specific mailing scenarios that are defined. These scenarios are established by the Postal Service for the purpose of certifying that mailers' processes can produce and submit the appropriate EDOC. For this reason, these scenarios vary by class of mail, by processing category, and by type of mail processing. For example, there are different scenarios for mailers who use MLOCR, or multiple line optical character reader equipment, to sort their mail than there is for mailers who use pre-sort software. These scenarios are generic in nature. In other words, they're not tailored to each unique mailer. So as a result, mailers will find that within some scenarios there may be elements that some mailers will not actually run into in a production environment. Nevertheless, all the elements of all the applicable scenarios must be performed and passed during TEM certification testing in order to participate in intelligent mail. Depending on a mailer's specific situation, they may need to complete just a single scenario for testing, or they may need to complete many scenarios. The number of scenarios that are required for certification will influence how long this testing process will take. So, how do mailers get started with TEM testing? Well, the first thing that we recommend that mailers do is to go to the Postal Service's RIBS website and download the TEM Checklist and Troubleshooting document. Mailers should read this document to understand more about the various TEM testing scenarios and to be able to select the checklists that match the types of mailings that you do. The more different types of mailings that you do, the more extensive your TEM testing process will be. All TEM testing occurs on Postal One, so you will also need to access the Business Customer Gateway from the Postal Service website to get started. Here you will download the Postal Service's software called MD Client for the TEM environment. And if you have not already done so, you will need to apply to the Postal Service for a Mailer Identification Number, or MID, and a Customer Registration Identification Number, or CRID. This information must be populated in the mail.dat files that are transmitted to Postal One during the testing, and these uniquely identify you as a mailer. And lastly, you will need to gather together the various mail.dat files that reflect the types of mailings that you do. If you have multiple types of mailings, we suggest that you start with the easiest one first, or the one that has the fewest scenarios in the Postal Service checklist. There are also some tools that you will need to proceed with your TEM testing. TEM testing is much, much easier if you have post pre-sort software, such as Windows